If I was attempting to rank all of the shots that I've ever tried to get in terms of riskiness, I think this shot would take the cake on so many fronts. One, my camera might fall in the water. Two, in terms of like being seen by the general public, I'm right next to a trail, so everyone can see me doing this. So shout out to me for pushing myself a little in the social anxiety department. If you're new here, my name is Brielle. I am a dystopian fantasy writer currently working on my debut novel, and today's video is a little fun and special because we are doing a writing challenge. Over the next 5 days, I'm going to attempt to write a total of 10,000 words, averaging 2,000 words a day. Why did I decide that I wanted to do this challenge? Well, I recently did some number crunching, and I basically realized that if I want to reach my soft goal of finishing draft 3 by the end of August, the pace that I need to be working at is about 1,600 words a day. And that was a little bit nerve-wracking for me. It wasn't a completely unfathomable number, but it also wasn't super easy and attainable. So I thought what might be a good strategy to kind of warm myself up to the idea of doing a 1,600 word a day pace would be to do a little bit more than that for a few days and to challenge myself to average 2K words a day for the next 5 days. If you don't know anything about me or my project, I definitely recommend checking out other videos. Due to my slightly precarious filming situation, I'm not going to get into too much detail, but the project I'm working on is a dystopian fantasy. It's titled Unraveling, and I've documented the entire process of working on this book from its very, very origins. So if you're new here, definitely there is a whole library of content for you to binge, all about me, all about this project, all about my writing journey. I'm going to take you along for the ride and give you updates every single day on how the writing is going. We've actually already kickstarted the writing a little bit. I did a writing session this morning with my wonderful friend Alyssa in the books. We did some writing on FaceTime while I was at a cafe. I had the most delicious oatmeal cookie. We're going to show you all that B-roll in just a second. In terms of how I'm feeling about the project right now, I'm feeling pretty good. I just wrote a scene that I was really looking forward to in this draft, and I think it turned out okay. I didn't feel like it was as polished in terms of line level as some of the writing that I've been doing lately, but that's okay. I can do a couple more passes of it while I'm still working on this draft. We are about to break into a new section of the book that's going to take place in a city. It's one of my favorite sections of the book. We're about to meet a ton of new characters, including some of my absolute favorite side characters. We've been kind of on the road, journeying, if you will, for the last, many chapters. And so I'm excited for a change of pace and to be back in a more grounded location. So I'm really excited to enter this section of the book. Really quick, I wanted to take a moment to do a little self promo and tell you guys about my Patreon page. If you don't know, I have a Patreon. I feel like quite a few of you might not know because I don't do the best job of mentioning it, but I have a Patreon page, and if you really like my content, maybe you've discovered me recently or you've been with me for a long time, you can find a ton of bonus content over on my Patreon page. I post a new exclusive bonus video over there every single month. Some things we've done over there recently: we did a plotting vlog back when I was working on replotting the book. We did a behind the scenes of the business side of being a content creator vlog where I talked about a new special project and a little bit about how I plan my authortube content. We also just did the Q2 income report over there, so if you're feeling nosy and you want to know how much money I made in the last 3 months. We also do a monthly Q&A podcast, so if you have any questions you want to ask me or you just want to hear a ton of chatty podcast episodes, that's over there as well. So feel free to join me over there. It's only $5 a month and you get access to everything. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the rest of this video.
Where did the time go? How do we move so far away? Holding on, how much can we both take when love is an echo? I can't hear what you're saying when love is an echo. I can't hear what you're saying.
Home now. I'm cozied up. It's a hot day in Seattle. It's 81 degrees outside, but in the comfort of my residence, we are chilling at around 70 degrees. We have AC now. If you don't know about my AC saga, I did not have AC for quite a minute, and so I do not take for granted at all getting to cool down my apartment now, getting to wear a sweatshirt on an 81-degree day because my apartment is cool enough. I do not take that for granted for a single second. I'm about to write a little bit more with Alyssa. She's still available. We're about 1,400 words into our count for the day. Definitely want to hit at least 2K today to start the challenge strong. And I'm also excited for the scene that we're about to go into. As I was walking home, I was like daydreaming about it a little bit. And I think I have some clear ideas for how I kind of want to approach it. So I'm gonna hydrate. I'm feeling tired. I was gonna go for a run tonight, but I don't think I'm actually gonna do that. I went climbing yesterday. Climbing is a very taxing activity on the body, especially I feel like as a beginner. I've only done it twice and I pushed myself pretty hard yesterday. So my body's just kind of aching. I think I'm gonna honor that. I did some yoga already this morning, so I don't think I'm gonna push it with another high intensity workout by going for a run. So I think that we're probably just gonna like chill, maybe go for a walk right before sunset. I love doing a little evening walk, but yeah, we're gonna try to get some more writing in. I think we're gonna cozy up right in the corner of this couch and just finish out the first day strong. I'm gonna go drink a ton of ice water and then call Alyssa and maybe make a matcha if I'm feeling super hydrated, but only if I'm feeling super hydrated. Usually in the evenings, I'll just kind of work until pretty late since I, take quite a bit of time for myself in the mornings. But tonight, all I want to do is watch The Vampire Diaries. I'm already thinking about it. I just want to watch The Vampire Diaries. So I might treat myself and do that. Once I hit my 2K words, I might just, all right, that's it for the day, and watch my show. I come bearing end of the day writing updates. Today's final stats, we clocked in at 2,155 words. I'm trying to remember how long we wrote. I think it was something like 2 hours, 40 minutes. So that's how long that I'm going to log in TRACKBEAR and stuff, because I'm still also tracking time alongside of this challenge goal. So I'm tracking both time and word count now. I'm tracking word count in Pacemaker Planner, and then I'm tracking time in TRACKBEAR. It might seem like an excessive amount of tracking for what it is, but to me, tracking my writing progress is really worth its weight in gold. The 5 to 10 minutes that it takes for me to input my stats in the various places that I do really helps to give me a feeling of accomplishment and progress. And I honestly think it helps to motivate me to write more. And that's well worth the slight, inconvenience of going to track my words. Those are the vibes. That's how day one of this challenge finished out. I'm so glad that we even went a little bit past the 2,000 mark today. That's a huge win for the next few days. I feel pretty good about the writing that we did today. The chapters that we worked on, I think they turned out all right. I think it serves the purpose it needs to, and it's going to be pretty good material to work with when I, circle back and brush up, revise, clean up this section. So really that's all a girl could ask for. Going into tomorrow, the scenes that I'm going to be working on, we are going to enter into this new location. Thought of writing the description of them entering into this new location is a bit daunting. With description in specific, I do think I'm going to attempt to salvage some old words. I think if there was anything that I could salvage old words from previous drafts on, it would be straight up description. Dialogue and interiority, those things do need to change. So this last scene that I worked on did have a few challenges, mostly the fact that things are getting a little complicated. Basically, I have some, reveals planned for later, and the characters are overhearing things that kind of make them realize there might be something going on that they're not quite aware of in terms of the government. And they're basically theorizing about what that could mean, making potential conclusions about it right now. And obviously the conclusions that they are making now, or the theories that they're coming up with now, are not quite accurate because there's later reveals to come. And I guess what I'm struggling with right now is I'm worried about confusing the reader. I'm worried about things getting too complicated. For now, I'm going to leave all this sort of like theorizing in and kind of probably see if my beta readers grasp what I'm going for with this plot piece, but I'm a little bit concerned about that. I definitely will need to very clearly explain the truth when they finally do learn what that is, to make sure that we're all on the same page of like, okay, you know that thing that we were talking about earlier, you know those renegades that we mentioned back in chapter 20, this is who those people were. I'm just a little bit concerned about that coming full circle and being fully satisfying, because I know myself as a reader, when reveals and stuff happen, I frequently as a reader am craving more explanation, because I feel like sometimes I struggle to put all the pieces together in the end. I feel like sometimes writers are too subtle. And so I just want to make sure that I don't fall into that pitfall and that it's super clear. Okay, now we know who those dudes were. Remember those dudes? Now we know who those dudes were. So as long as I can do that properly towards the end of the book, I think we'll be fine. I feel like I have a really good grasp on the story in its wider sense right now. It's 8:30 p.m. now. And as you can imagine, I'm a little exhausted. It's been quite an intensive writing day. So I think I'm going to go for a little mini walk, just get some more walking in right before the sun sets. I love doing that. And then we're either going to watch Vampire Diaries or edit this video up until this point, or maybe a little bit of both. We'll see. Considering what time I usually go to bed, I still have quite a few hours of waking time, so maybe we get to do a little bit of both. That'd be kind of fun. Day 1 has been a success. We beat our benchmark. I'll see you tomorrow with day 2. We did, in fact, close out day 1 with a combination of the Vampire Diaries and editing this vlog. Both of the things that I talked about potentially doing. This is the new book that we got. I got the hardcover special edition for Ali Hazelwood's The Love Hypothesis. It has character art inside, which is really fun. And of course, a little sprayed edge moment. I also did a little rework of this bookshelf. This is my contemporary romance shelf. I have this little crown here. This is from my friend Meg's book. She wrote The Crown Prophecy, which is this adorable little baking themed book. Cozy fantasy, definitely recommend. But there's definitely room for like one more book now on this shelf. I used to have a lamp here, but it wasn't plugged in, so I couldn't really use it. So I decided to just scrap it for favor of the shelf space since I'm running out of space anyway. And yeah, this is my contemporary romances. Isn't it gorgeous? It gets a little bit darker on this end, but it's because I wanted to have all of my Katie Wismer contemporaries together. And I do think it creates a nice transition to my dark fantasy shelf. It's not actually like dark fantasy books, it's just my fantasy books that have dark covers are pretty much all together. And then I have basically like a Sarah J Maas shelf besides House on the Cerulean Sea. It's obviously not Sarah J Maas. I'm honestly so proud of my bookcase. I have this section up here, which is like a lot of like classic series. I still haven't read The Red Queen, though I know I have to because people have said it has parallels to my book. Also, I have yet to read any of these Emily Henrys, but I love how they look on this shelf. So also this is Alyssa's book. It is not a romance, but it matched this shelf pretty well. So while we're on the topic of books, we need to talk about this one. I got this at a little indie bookstore near me, 3 bags full. It's a sheep detective story. Also just the cover design, like it's so graphic. It's so gorgeous. I would love to have a cover like this for a contemporary book in the future. I wish that fantasy was doing more graphic covers like this because I would love to do a cover like this for a fantasy, but I just feel like it would be too misleading genre-wise. That being said, I'm obsessed. And it sounds like such a fun little story. Sheep being detectives is everything, actually. Happy day 2 of our 10K in 5 days challenge. We are off to a decent start today. We've written, I think, somewhere around 700 words. Let me go check. Okay, I was overestimating. We've only written 600-ish words. Frankly, not concerned though, because I have been hitting my best word counts in the evenings lately. There is just something about it. And I talked about this in a vlog, who knows when, but I have talked about this in a vlog. I think there's something about an evening session, the isolation, the coziness. I just do some of my best writing in the evenings or even into the night sometimes if my brain is sharp enough. It's kind of hit or miss. It's definitely going to be an evening of locking in. We also have surpassed 50,000 words in the manuscript, which is exciting. Did I think that I would be closer to the midpoint when we were at 50,000 words? Yeah. We still have probably I would say 6 chapters before the midpoint. So the word count of this draft is going to get pretty high. I think that's safe to say. Even though I do know that my midpoint for this project is it's definitely a little further than the 50% mark. So maybe we won't be dealing with a massive manuscript in the way that I'm kind of thinking we might. Things are going pretty good. I've started doing something that has never really been part of my process, and that is jumping. Not big jumps. I still think I'm pretty solidly a mostly chronological writer, but something I've started doing a little bit more is jumping around within a 1 to 2 chapter chunk, maybe even 3 chapter chunk, or even just within a chapter. So I'll enter a chapter and instead of immediately writing the beginning of that chapter, maybe I'm writing a dialogue exchange at the end of it, or maybe I'm writing half of a chapter, not sure how I'm going to execute the other half, and then I'm jumping ahead to the next chapter. It's been a lot more of that, those short-term hops, which has been very interesting, very new for me. But I think it's actually really helping me not get stuck, because instead of feeling like I need to bang my head against the wall until it works with a certain section of a scene, I can just see if another part of that scene is flowing easier. Because it's still within such a small chunk, I'm not running into issues that could be caused by not writing chronologically. For example, I'm not going to have problems of oh no, my character's mental and emotional state is completely incorrectly portrayed because I didn't write this perfectly in order. That's not really a problem because it's not like I'm jumping from act 1 to act 3. It's all within a very small chunk. I'm really liking this method. I think it's helping me get stuck a lot less, because something that I've always said is that if I'm stuck on a specific scene or specific part of the book, trying to force my way through the mud doesn't work 9 out of 10 times. Usually the idea for how to fix that scene or the new angle that I need for that scene comes to me when I'm just hanging out or doing something else. It doesn't usually come to me from trying to force it in the moment. And so because I'm writing every day, I only missed 1 day the last 2 weeks. So I think it's safe to say I'm pretty much writing every day. A lot of solutions and ideas for the project are coming to me in my downtime, in the space in between writing sessions, since I'm so in it. And because of that, I actually think it makes me feel even more confident about not being afraid to do brackets, not being afraid to do these little jumps, because I know that the solution could be something that comes to me an hour later while I'm on a walk. And stuff like that has been happening. I've been jotting things down in my notes app that I'm realizing or coming up with on the fly in random moments. So it's been interesting seeing how my process is evolving, but we're going to try to lock in a little bit. I did just eat some food, so I'm feeling decently energized. I think we might go make a little matcha so that I have, some caffeine for this session, and then we're gonna rock and roll right into it. I am thinking that I'm going to actually split this challenge into 2 separate vlogs. So I think we're gonna do day 1 and day 2 in this vlog, and then the next 3 days in a part 2. So today's progress will be the end of this part 1 installment. Okay, let's go make a matcha. This has become my absolute favorite writing situation, setup, is chilling in this recliner, ideally hood up, full comfy sweatshirt, little drink on a little coaster on the bookcase, and then ideally just locking in for hours on end. The scene that we're about to work on is very exciting. It's our characters going to the place where they're going to learn a little bit more about their magic, and there's going to be quite a bit that our characters learn in these next couple scenes. Yes, about magic, but also some hints about what's kind of going on from a world building perspective, stuff that the character they're about to meet, who is kind of like their wise mentor, knows about the government and Varen's family. So it's gonna be, I think, a very interesting scene. There's a lot more going on than there was in the original. And this is one of those scenes where, you know, when you write something in an early draft and you don't exactly know why you're writing it, like it just kind of comes up. Maybe you don't quite understand the layers beneath it, but for some reason it feels like it should be in the story. That's kind of how I feel about this character in this section of the book. When I first introduced him, I laid groundwork about him like knowing inside secrets about the government, and like I was kind of hinting at him being part of this like underground, and at the time I didn't even really know what that meant because I hadn't done a ton of world building work, but I liked him as a mentor character and I liked the idea of him having this insider knowledge that he shouldn't have. And now with all the additional work that I've done, I understand that he's like literally plugged into this underground network and that they're like actually doing stuff to mess with the government, and it's going to be really interesting to play with all of that. I'm excited for the next couple scenes. That's where we're at. Okay, I'm gonna grab my laptop. Also, this draft is pretty thoroughly plotted, right? I wasn't really expecting any like surprises, but there was one scene where all of our characters go to this like festival. It's like a political festival in this society. And this scene, it just took on a new life in this draft. First of all, they get to wear these cool little masks. Basically, the reasoning behind the masks is that it symbolizes like sacrificing the individual for the sake of the collective. You know, it's like a questionable dictatorship type propaganda, but it also allows Varen to fly under the radar and participate in this festival without anyone knowing who he is, which is kind of fun. And then I added in this unexpected little moment, since this is now a political festival, which wasn't the case before, where they basically play like a propaganda reel of his father and the whole family. And it was really cool to get to write the moment of him seeing himself from the spectator's perspective for the first time and seeing the like polished image that has been projected of him and his family. Not to mention the added layer of, in this draft, Varen has faked his death in order to be able to do this whole mission thing that him and the team are doing. And so while he's watching this reel, he sees that his father has recycled old footage of him to hide the fact that he's died, even though obviously he hasn't died. Basically, there's a lot of layers. I was just really happy with how that whole sequence ended up turning out, and the whole like political newsreel thing, him getting to see his image up there. It was not something that was planned. He as a character has never gotten to see this from the outside perspective before. So I was really happy with that unexpected little character moment. Varen is really coming along. Being in his POV has just made me fall back in love with this story all the more. And I think honestly writing his POV has been such a highlight of this draft. I think I actually kind of prefer it. Not necessarily because I like him more than Rhea, but I just think he brings so much to the table in terms of such a vibrant history, so many like little secrets, and his past is so interesting. His like family is so interesting. It's just awesome to get to experience that from his perspective. Okay, we're gonna actually write now. I've been editing this vlog today, and I'm jumping in just to give a quick final recap of how the first 2 days of the challenge went. So on day 1, we got 2,155 words. On day 2, we got 1,766 words, bringing our total for the first 2 days to 3,921 words. So we didn't quite hit the 2K benchmark on day 2, but between the 2 days, we're right around where we need to be sitting, pretty close to 4K, meaning that the last 3 days of this challenge, we'll have to write 6K more. In terms of the little session that you guys just saw, I did end up using some material, referencing some material from draft 2 in that scene, and that was the first time time that had happened in like probably 10 plus chapters. I mentioned earlier in this vlog that I thought if anything was going to be salvageable, it was most likely going to be like description, and that was mostly what I was able to use. But yeah, I think it worked, it incorporated, and I think description is one of the hardest parts of writing for me. It's one of the things that come the least naturally. I remember really having to be very intentional about describing this location in an effective, interesting way. I made a mood board. I like had to look at references for how to describe the way it was decorated and the way it looked. So if nothing is fundamentally changing about this place in this draft, there's no reason for me to reinvent the wheel with that. You know what I mean? Obviously, with so much of this draft, I'm choosing to rewrite. Like when in doubt, I'm rewriting. But in small pockets like this, where I'm genuinely happy with what existed before and it's not impacting the wider story, I want to let myself, use some of the work that I did in the past. So day 2 felt really good despite not hitting the 2K. I'm really happy with the writing that I did. I'm going to sign off for this vlog. Stay tuned for part 2. If you made it to the end of this one, leave a horse emoji down in the comments. And thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.